The Light 95.9 joining us today. I've been waiting for this. Michael Jr. Now, I want to set this up. You know he's a well-known Christian comedian. He's been around 2 decades, performed hundreds of places, thousands of people. There is a movie out called Selfiedad, and it's also starring Shonda Pierce. Whoa, that is really great. Along with James Dayton, Jamie Grace, and Karen Abercrombie from War Room, plus music by, Jamie Grace and Matthew West. Michael, I got to tell you, Shonda Pierce and you, that is a movie you got to see. So how'd this all come about, Selfiedad?
Yeah, well, Brad Silverman, the director/writer, put this thing together, and he did a phenomenal job at writing a really good story that just follows a dad on his way to try to just really be a better dad. And the fact that he was able to get us all together in the same at the same time to pull this thing off is really pretty awesome. So I'm excited about this movie, and the fact that it was scheduled to be in theaters, but because of the closing of theaters and now they're at 25% or whatever, it actually people get to see it at home on video on demand, which is amazing. So instead of paying $97 with some popcorn, you can watch it at home. A theatrical level movie at home is going to be $19. The whole family get to see the movie. So I'm so excited. So it's basically about a dad he used to do comedy, but now he's an editor for a reality show, and his boss is hard to work with, which is Shonda Pierce, and they just don't get along. But in a comedic way, they just don't like each other. So not only is it a good story, but because of the comedy that kind of shows up, you actually get to see the story through those lenses. But he actually decides to start a YouTube channel, and it blows up. And he starts to get everything he wants, but he's losing what he really needs, which is to be a dad. He realizes that is something that's pretty important. And the way he starts to realize it anyway, I should say, because he doesn't get it immediately, is a friend recommends that he reads this book called the Bible. And he actually starts reading it, things start to change, but in a way that's not expected in your normal Christian film. Because of the directors, because they brought me in, and then also gave me the freedom to kind of create on the spot. We ended up with something better than we had anticipated when it was all done. So when people see this movie, I think they're going to be moved. I think they're going to laugh. There's some great stuff that happens in this film, but also there's one scene in particular that I like to highlight for people where, because you're listening right now to this station or listening to this program, you'll get to notice this, but most people won't. So there's a point in the film where things are going great. The videos have blown up. My character's excited. Ben Marcus is his name. He's excited. But then he does a video about the Bible. He's looking right to the camera. There's a blue curtain behind him, got on like a black shirt. And he starts to talk about the Bible. But if you look closely, and now you will because I mentioned it, you'll see when the character is talking about how the Bible changed his life, where I go from just from Ben Marcus, the character, and I actually break character and turn into Michael Jr. Because when I'm talking about what the Bible is actually changing my life, it actually has changed in a significant, it affects me, the actual person. And you can actually see me break character. But if you don't look for it, you won't even notice it. But there's a point in there where I break character. But because you're listening right now, you'll see it in that scene towards the end. So this movie is very, very exciting, and it's super timely, too. For example, there's a part in this movie, Selfiedad, where I actually get pulled over by the police. And in the script it said when Ben gets pulled over, he gets out the car. The original script said that. And I was like, nah, I'm not getting out the car, bro. Because it doesn't make sense for me to get out the car, because that's not what a black man would do. He's not just getting out the car. So the director was like, well, he didn't understand it at first. So I was able to sit down with the director and some of the crew and explain to them the difference between when a black person get out the car and then when they get out the car. And they actually listened and understood as best they could. And then they said, well, what about this? When you get pulled over, you're angry. I was like, no, I'm not going to be angry. That doesn't make sense. That's not something I would do. I would try to control my anger, but that's not something I would do. It was a great teaching moment. So what ended up happening is it allowed me to improv the entire scene of what I would do if I got pulled over by the police with a comedic tone, because that's also the tone of the film. So when you see that scene, I just want you guys to know that thing is 100% improv. Like, we made the entire thing up as we move forward, and most of it was just naturally from how I would respond with a comedic tone, though, when I get pulled over by the police.
You know what? I'm hearing you saying this, and first thing came to my mind was Shonda Pierce and Michael Jr. Really? That's got to be improvisation constantly in this film. I can't even imagine some of the outtakes and everything. I mean, I saw the scene where you get pulled over, but did you improvise a lot during this movie?
We did do a lot of improvising, and Shonda Pierce is an expert at that. I mean, she's just really, really good. So there's a lot of improvisation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to say the word. I just did it. So there's a lot of that in there, and it'll be fun when people watch it to kind of look and see if you can tell the difference between which ones was me just kind of coming off the dome, so to speak, versus actually going from a position of what's written on the script. So I'm so excited about what people are going to take away when they see this movie on June 19th at home. You don't got to pay $97 for popcorn.
Right.
You get to see it at home.
That's right.
This is going to be so cool.
You know, in one of the scenes when I was watching the trailer where I think it was someone said, have you seen The War Room? Your wife says, well, I don't like to watch Christian films. I mean, I said, that is hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's great. Yeah. So what was it like working with Shonda Pierce? I mean, what was it like? I mean, I'm sure you had your moments and great, but can you share a little anything how you two just it was made for each other? I think this movie was.
Yeah, Shonda's great. Her sense of humor is actually completely different from mine, which made the contrast pretty awesome. In fact, we just did a Facebook Live together 2 days ago. And it was the same thing. It was us in our different types of comedic tones having a conversation about real things in life. And it just went to a whole nother level because apparently Shonda saw a video I recently posted on Facebook about an incident that I had with the police when I was 19 years old. They put a gun in my head, put the hammer back. So it was a pretty traumatic experience, and the video was pretty deep, not necessarily funny at all, but Shonda saw that and wanted to reach out to me to have that conversation, which I just thought was awesome. So in the video, I explained what happened with the police, put the gun behind my head, but I also explained that in that moment or after the police officer left my apartment and put the gun on my head, and there was like 15 of them. After they left, I was sitting there alone, upset, mad, and this lady came bursting through the door who the police had raided her place, and she didn't know what to do. She had 2 kids. She barely spoke English. She was afraid and scared and crying, hysterical. And I reached into my wallet and gave her all the money I had, and then she gave me a hug and left with the kids. I've never seen her again, but I realized in that moment, while I was most upset, angry, and hurt, and still had some fear, I had an opportunity to give, and because I seized that opportunity to give and recognize somebody else's hurt, it was an opportunity for my healing to begin. So I really think that's a big part of what needs to happen in this country for us truly to be healed. And then another potential solution that I came up with because of my creativity that I've been blessed with is what if it was a requirement? I'm just throwing this out there as much as I can. What if it was a requirement for police officers to 7 to, let's say, 10 times a year, no matter what officer, no matter where you are, to go into your communities where you serve and not in your uniform, not with a gun on your hip, you go to someone's house and have dinner with that family that lives there.
Great
Ideally,
idea.
a family that doesn't look like you.
Great idea.
It could change the game.
Yes.
It could literally change a lot in a big way. So I think that could, because I've never met an officer. When I was a kid, I never met an officer. I didn't meet an actual officer and know their first name probably till I was in my 30s, and they were in an autograph line or one of my security guards. Other than that, I never met an officer before. So when an officer gets behind me, by default, I'm afraid. But what if I knew that might be Jonathan behind me, who I had dinner with when I was 10 years old? Like, that's another great thought to have as opposed to, oh, no, what did I do? What is about to happen to me?
I
and then
understand.
the same for them, too. What if they looked at me differently? It'd be pretty cool.
Well, there is a message in the movie. We know that. But that's even a deeper message, too. What was it like working with Jamie Grace?
Jamie Grace is awesome. Beautiful, smart. I was able to give her a couple lessons. I gave her some pointers on, how to make sure she's hitting the notes because I'm such an amazing singer. I don't know if you guys have ever heard my album before. It didn't really make it. It didn't make it that much. We sold 7 copies. But,
okay.
So I was able to give her
your
some
family,
pointers
okay.
on that.
Yeah. I
No, the
remember.
family, they didn't buy it. The family didn't buy it. It was strangers.
I remember you've been all over. I think it was last year you were on our area here in the Canton, Ohio area, the Dover area. You came here, and I remember that you appeared in a church. But it was a lot of fun. So what's in store now? You got a movie on your movie now. What's coming up next?
Well, we're super excited about the movie. I'm actually literally in between all of these interviews for the movie. I'm literally finishing up the last chapter of my book, which is exciting. But we also have a podcast out called Michael Jr. Off the Cuff, which I'm super duper excited about. And to kind of kick that thing off, the thing that started off the cuff is basically it's me on stage. Whenever I do my 4 comedy events, I'll stop in the middle of the show and talk to audience members, and funny just kind of happens. Mm-hmm. So it started out as this thing we would call break time. And now it's turned into this really great podcast. We're coming up on like 500,000 downloads. I'm super excited about that. And if people want to get a taste of what's that like, you can get to download the podcast. But where it started was this thing called Break Time. Mm-hmm. So we've been offering people a CD of Break Time actually free, because during these times, people really need to laugh and have a good time. So if you want to get a copy, you just go to michaeljr.com/free CD, and we'll send you a CD out. But in the meanwhile, get the movie. You want to pre-order Selfiedad as soon as you can, because we don't know how long downloads will last of this movie. So you want to just play it. You can get a download. They're not going to run out. But
that's great.
You can go to selfiedadmovie.com and get that. And then otherwise, I got a book coming out soon. Super excited about that. The book is called Funny How Life Works. And just some really cool stuff cooking.
You're a real busy guy. You really are. That's great. That's
wonderful.
I
try to be strategically. Yeah. I try to move strategically, but then also make sure I'm super sensitive to my family. Because comedy's it's a vehicle, but it's not the destination.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving us some of your time today. Selfiedad, you can get video on demand on Friday, June the 19th, in time for Father's Day. Michael, how can we as a body pray for you and your family?
Wisdom. I mean, there's some great opportunities, but I just want to do what is super clear that God wants me to do. So really it's about wisdom for me. Wisdom.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Give your website one more time and about your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So the podcast is called Michael Jr. Off the Cuff. And my website, if you go to michaeljr.com/free CD, we'll send you a free CD out. And then for the movie, though, which is actually coming out in a weekend on Father's Day weekend, a movie called Selfiedad on Father's Day weekend. That is just so awesome. Go to selfiedadmovie.com and you can download it right now. Find out about it. Share the trailer, and that'll be really, really awesome. So, and it's also on michaeljr.com. All
right. Hey, one other question, then I'll let you go because you're getting a tight schedule. Any other movies coming up? Are you going to see how this works out and take it from there?
Yeah, I get some cool opportunities for films, but I try to be strategic. I'm in a great place where I don't have to do movies. I just really want to try to do whatever I feel like God is saying do. So there's been some movies sent my way that I was like, nah, we probably won't do that one. But this was one of the ones that we felt like we should do. So we'll see what comes down the line. If it makes sense, then we'll run at it hard. Comedy, entertainment is just a vehicle, not the destination. So if a film comes along that's going to help us get closer to the destination, then we'll be all in.
All right. Michael Jr. and Sean DePierce appearing in the movie Selfiedad, debuts on premium video on demand Friday, June 19th, and on digital platform everywhere. Thank you, my friend. Blessings to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, bro. All right. Bye.